Alright, before we get started, most of you will have immediately noticed that I am much better looking in this video than I have been in past videos. So, why an avatar? Why would I bother? You already know my name. You've seen my face. Well, I'm doing this more or less for the same reason that people will shave their heads to support a cancer patient. I made a video a while back responding to Philip Moriarty's complaint about pseudonyms and avatars.
They cravenly hide behind an avatar and a pseudonym.
I still hear that from time to time. Someone will accuse another content creator of cowardice for using a drawing rather than their own face. Some schmuck recently even called Bering's avatar a pedo bear, because cartoons appeal specifically to kids. Now, if I only had a mainstream example of an adult cartoon handy, I could really make that look like an idiot's argument.
Now, I may be an idiot, but there is one thing I am not, sir, and that, sir, is an idiot.
It should be a non-issue, but to show support for those who maintain anonymity, no matter how silly their mask, I decided to make a video using an avatar even though I don't need one. I could get used to this, though. I didn't have to set up my camera. You might be wondering just what in the hell I'm supposed to be, though. Well, this is the Yellow Kid. He was an old-time newspaper comic character whose words appeared on his shirt instead of in word balloons. A lot of people say that he's the very first comics character. I modeled my avatar on him. But don't worry, he dates all the way back to 1895, so he's well into the public domain. Not that anyone would make the mistake of using a copyrighted character for an avatar. On to the subject of the video. Low-hanging fruit. A lot of the time, people in the community will apologize for taking on low-hanging fruit, or they'll take criticism for it. A ridiculous argument given by a ridiculous person is a pretty easy target, and we want to keep our subject matter intellectual and challenging, right? It seems I've heard that somewhere else, though.
In videos and in the comment sections, anti-feminists often take up the most extreme or the weakest feminist position they can find, or they just straight up misrepresent what the feminist position is. Instead, why not take up the strongest, most robust feminist argument you can find and really challenge yourself?
It's not just feminism that provides the comical arguments. It's the entire regressive left. Those weak arguments she's talking about are the low-hanging fruit. The reason that the low-hanging fruit is ridiculed so often is that there is so much of it. There are orchards full of fruit hanging low enough to scrape the ground. Now, we all know that in the Valley of the Blind, the one-eyed man has to check his visual privilege and always advocate for those less fortunate than himself. But in the orchard of regressive fruit, that's not really an option. All you can do is examine the low fruit and expose it for the poison it is. If you climb up in pursuit of the sweeter, more rewarding, robust arguments, you'll notice that the social justice trees don't produce much fruit on the higher limbs. And that's what makes the regressive left the regressive left. Any argument will do. It doesn't matter how irrational it is. If you avoid the low-hanging fruit, you might not have much to do. So when I hear people complaining about the skeptics and content creators who just want to wreck easy targets, I have to protest. The arguments that they're fighting are not the strongest arguments, but they are the main arguments. And they are not confined to the dark corners of YouTube either. Take the example of Keith Russian Scum Olbermann. I made a video lampooning him, and I hardly consider his paranoid rants to be engaging. Now, Keith was a major TV personality, but I don't think that elevates his argument at all.
We are no longer a sovereign nation. We are no longer a democracy. We are no longer a free people. We are the victims of a bloodless coup. So far, a bloodless coup, engineered by Russia.
It got better than that, too. Keith, could you describe the Republican Party for us?
Scum who are beholden to scum! Russian scum!
That just never gets old. Now, I hesitated on the day that I was going to upload my Olbermann video. See, there was an issue right then about a fake feminist, a satire of feminism that had been confused with the real thing. So I took another look at Olbermann's video. He was so over the top. So impossible that a lot of people in his video's comments wondered if his rant was some kind of parody. Was he genuine? Was I going to make a fool out of myself poking fun at a caricature? When I posted my video, I still wasn't 100% sure. That's how low that fruit hangs. He refers to Trump's election as a Russian coup. Other videos made in response to that rant had titles like Keith Olbermann has officially lost his mind, Keith Olbermann has clearly lost his mind, and Keith Olbermann has lost his damn mind. So do I regret exposing his lack of altitude? No. Because even after his entertaining rant, he was able to find his way onto the panel of the Bill Maher Show on Inauguration Night.
There was a protest during this inauguration, or coup d'etat, whichever you prefer.
That's right. Olbermann got to take his Art Bell routine right out into the mainstream. And how did Bill Maher respond? Was he true to form? I remember Bill getting pissed enough at a 9/11 conspiracy theorist to storm the audience personally to throw the guy out.
See, this is the problem sometimes with government. Hey, do we have some fucking security in this building? Or do I have to come over and kick this guy's ass out of here? Could you get the fuck out of my building? Hey, ouch. New rule, crazy people who still think the government brought down the Twin Towers in a controlled explosion have to stop pretending that I'm the one who's being naive.
It looks like times have changed, because confronted with Keith Olbermann's lunacy, Bill says,
We came up with a timeline we want to show you here to maybe illustrate the point about Russia and the connection with Donald Trump. Here's 1946 to 2015. Trump knows nothing about and gives no shits about Russia. That's 46 to 2015. And then we move to February, 2016. Trump begins policy of consistently filleting Putin publicly wherever he can. Come on, move on. Trump hires Paul Manafort, who we know had amazing connections with Russia. Trump staffers soften language in the platform about defending Ukraine. Moving on to WikiLeaks releases DNC emails. Trump encourages more Hillary hacking. And, of course, Trump says maybe U.S. should lift sanctions against Russia. So it does look like, I'm not saying he's a Russian puppet, like you say, but he's acting just like one. Yeah. He's acting exactly like a man who they do have a P-tape of.
No, Bill. A Russian agent would do absolutely nothing to expose his position until after the election. And shouldn't you ask for some evidence a little bit? And we're not going to do that, though, huh? See, that bothers me. Ground-level regressive fruit can shine for all the world to see on popular, supposedly intellectual political talk shows. If the silly, the paranoid, and the childish of the far left can have their arguments heard all over the world with the encouragement of the establishment, then we have an obligation to reveal them for what they are. So don't shy away from the low-hanging fruit, and don't apologize for it. When you're presented with a particularly ripe piece, go after it with all the gusto of Pac-Man pursuing the bonus points.
The revolution starts here. The fight for the right